The Divine Creator. There was once a woman born beneath a sky that did not yet know how to speak her name. The world she entered called her many things: daughter, beauty, burden, but none of them captured the fire in her blood or the wisdom in her bones. From her earliest breath, she felt the rhythm of something ancient, not a god above, but a god within. It thrummed in her heartbeat when she held her mother's hand. It flickered in her laughter when she played beneath the trees. And as she grew, it roared when the world tried to shape her into something smaller than she was. They told her, "Be soft, be quiet, be pleasing." But she was born from the same dust that births stars. She could not stay silent. She saw how others looked at her, as though she were only her skin, her smile, her stillness. They mistook her gentleness for weakness, her beauty for invitation. But they didn't see the storms she carried in her chest. They didn't feel the centuries of wisdom pressed into her soul by the women who came before her. Goddesses disguised as mothers, warriors cloaked as caregivers, visionaries buried in silence. In her hands, she held more than touch. She held power, the kind that could cradle life or crumble thrones. When she spoke, her voice echoed with the strength of those who once whispered behind closed doors and sang beneath open skies. They had been waiting for her, for the one who would remember. And she did. She remembered that she was not made for the world. She was made from it. She was the pulse in the earth, the tide in the sea, the breath in the wind. She was the question that broke tradition and the answer that healed it. She was not an echo of someone else's dream. She was the dreamer, the builder, the divine spark in motion. Still, the world tried. Oh, how it tried. It gave her mirrors that told lies. It handed her roles like costumes. Be the good wife, be the quiet girl, be the strong one, but not too strong. And for a while, she wore them. She bowed her head, she laughed when she was uncomfortable, she dimmed her own light so others could feel less shadowed. But the fire never left her. It burned quietly in her chest, in the moments no one saw, when she wept in the shower or sat alone beneath the moon, asking questions only the stars could answer. And the stars did answer in their own way. They told her, "You are not too much. You are exactly as you were meant to be." So she began to peel away the layers the world had placed on her. She unlearned the silence. She untied the shame. She began to speak, not to be heard, but to be free. She no longer sought permission to exist fully. She began to walk with her head held high, not out of pride, but remembrance. And in that remembering, she began to create. Not just art or beauty or words, but realities. She built spaces where others could exhale. She used her voice to carve out new pathways. She mothered not just children, but movements. She nurtured not just with her hands, but with her presence. Wherever she went, things grew. They tried to define her. They tried to frame her, to name her. But how do you name a river? How do you capture lightning in a jar? They called her woman like it was a cage, but she wore it like a crown. She was not a vessel for desire, she was desire itself, wrapped in intention. She was not an object to be gazed upon, she was the force behind the gaze. When she walked, generations walked with her. When she spoke, the air shifted. When she touched the earth, it remembered her footsteps. And still, they tried to silence her. They called her angry, too loud, too bold. They said she was hard to love, but they didn't know she had stopped asking to be loved on terms that required her to shrink. She did not bend anymore, she grew. She did not beg anymore, she built. She did not wait anymore, she was. And in her being, she reminded others of their own divinity. She didn't need to preach. Her life was the sermon. Her breath was the blessing. Her presence was the permission others needed to remember who they were. Some were afraid of her. Because when a woman remembers she is God, systems begin to shake. Lies begin to rot. Entire histories begin to unravel. But that never stopped her. She did not come to comfort the status quo. She came to resurrect what was sacred. And what is more sacred than a woman who knows her worth? She loved deeply, but not at her own expense. She gave generously, but never what she could not afford to lose. She forgave easily, but never without wisdom. Her boundaries were not walls, they were altars. Only those who honored the divine could enter. People watched her and said, "She is magic." But it was not magic. It was memory. She had remembered who she was before the world told her who to be. She had returned to the source and found it had been within her all along. Not a throne above, but a flame inside. And so she walked the earth not as someone seeking power, but as power embodied. And maybe, just maybe, that is what it means to be a woman. Not an echo, not a shadow, not a dream deferred, but a divine creator, holy and human, fierce and soft, ancient and reborn. God in motion.